Let's plant some bulbs and see what happens. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ray. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Horticulture Geek. So it is a new year, it is January, Christmas has come and gone, and I still have some bulbs to plant because I just found them on a clearance rack at a farm supply store. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and let me show you what I picked up, and then we're gonna talk about it. So here's what I picked up. I've got 2 bags of tulips with 12 bulbs each, and 2 bags of scilla with 7 bulbs each. And in some countries, in some places, these are called squeal bulbs. But here we just typically call them scilla. And they're really pretty. Let me look at that. How nice are those? So these are a smaller understory flowering plant. They only get 12 to 15 inches tall. They bloom in late spring. So these typically are coming up while your daffodils and tulips are going, and then they kind of finish out your late spring. And they're a little bit shorter in stature plant, but if they fully bloom, they're really pretty. So I thought these would be really nice mixed into the garden. So there's some more information on this bulb for you. And then obviously tried and true tulips. If you've followed my channel for a while, you know I love tulips. So I picked up these 2 bags. These are the last 2 bags of tulips the store had, and these were the last 2 bags of scilla the store had. And it just worked out they had 2 bags of each. So tulips 18 to 20 inches tall at full bloom height with this particular Valentine mix. And they are mid-spring bloomer. So I'm hoping to get these in the ground today, and they will hopefully come up and be really nice for us this spring. And Christmas is over, obviously. We're in the middle of winter, and these bulbs are supposed to be planted in fall. But it's not too late. A good rule of thumb is if your ground's not frozen, if you can dig the ground, you can still plant your bulbs. So since I picked these bulbs up late, I'm just gonna go ahead and get them in the ground. Worst case scenario, they wouldn't germinate or bloom well. But honestly, at $2 a bag on the clearance rack, because they were the last that the store had, I'm not really taking that big of a risk here. So if I get them to bloom, if they put on a beautiful show, then I've got a beautiful show for $2 a bag on bulbs. I mean, it's not that bad to me. So I'm kind of excited about it. We'll see what happens. So I took a very different approach on my bulbs this year than what I've done in years past. If you have followed me in years past, you know that I typically do a huge color blends order, anywhere from 300 to 500 tulip bulbs, and I do big mass plantings of them. I decided not to do that this year because 1, it's expensive. 2, I didn't really have the time this year. And 3, I just decided to do something different this year because I wanted to have the flower beds up front where I normally plant tulips. I just wanted to give them a year off to rest, just so we're not harboring over any diseases or bacteria that may be present in the soil. Give that ground a year to be bulb free on the tulips. So these bulbs that I've planted this year, I've picked up in just individual bags like that, and I've kind of dotted them through the garden. So I think it's going to be a very natural look where I'll have little groupings of bulbs coming up throughout the garden, and then I've got bulbs in pots as well. So I'm hoping that, especially with my winter front door pots that I have done up right now at the front door with the cabbages and the pansies and the dusty millers, that in the spring when the temperature starts rising, those winter crops will start to fade out, and I'm hoping those tulips will then come up and continue on my show in those pots towards the end of the spring and give me a few extra weeks before I have to switch those pots out. And it's windy today, and so my wind chime is going crazy, so you probably hear that in the video. So let me grab these bulbs and I'm gonna show you where I'm going to plant them. I will set the camera up and just kind of show it. It's not terribly exciting planting bulbs, but I'll show you a snippet of it just in case. So let me grab them and here we go. Okay, I apologize for the light. It's kind of sunny out here, but I got to get this done. I wanted to show you my tulip bulbs just in case you haven't watched a previous video, or maybe you stumbled across this channel and you've never done this before. So there's definitely wrong way and a right way to plant a tulip. So this is my tulip bulb, and this is an excellent example because these are already starting to bud out. But if that green part wasn't there, you pretty much have a bulb like this, right? So there's a pointy end and a bottom end. You want to put the bottom end down and the pointy end up because this is where your leaves and your flower are going to come from. Right here in the holes, I've got 6 holes here, and I'm just going to take my bulb and I'm just going to put him right down in there. And you see there's a bulb already in there, there's bulbs in there, there's bulbs in there. And once I get them in, give them a good push down, and then it's just a matter of filling back in the holes. Nice and loose. We don't want to compact them. We don't want to squeeze them or break them down or pop those stems off. Just nice and loose. Planted 6 red and white tulips there. 6 of the red and white here, which you saw. 6 of the red and white here, and then 6 here. So I'm hoping that this spring it'll be really pretty because you'll have a little clump, a little clump, a little clump, a little clump, providing color all the way down the perennial border here. And now I'm going to take the scilla and I'm going to plant a whole bag of them right there. in that empty spot between those tulips and those tulips. And then over here, I'm actually gonna come around the curve and I'm gonna plant the rest of them right here, kind of at the base of this tree, just so it's not so matchy on either side of the swing, but you still get color, 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 color. So it'll be nice blocks of spring bulb color all the way down the perennial border. Now I'm gonna plant the scilla bulbs the exact same way. So it's nothing too exciting. I'm not even gonna film it and waste time making a long video for you to watch me crouched over with my drill bit shoving bulbs in the ground. If for some reason this is your first time tuning into this channel or seeing anybody plant bulbs with a bulb auger, that's what this is. It's just a regular auger, but it's small enough to plant bulbs with. You can buy bulb augers in the garden center, or you can just go to the hardware store and buy a small auger the size of a bulb for a little bit cheaper, which is what I've done, and you just attach it right to your drill. And so it makes planting bulbs in small numbers really easy. Now, if I plant 100 bulbs at a time, like to fill a flower bed, I do the pit dig method. I literally dig out that entire bed, dig a big hole in the bed, a big trench, lay all the bulbs out, and then bury them all on one point. It is labor intensive, but it's easier than doing 100 individual holes. So that's what I do for mass plantings of bulbs. But for these little 6 here, 6 here, 12 here, 12 there, whatever it is, I just do my bulb auger and I sprinkle them in. This is really handy because with this auger, I've got landscape lighting running through this flower bed, and I've got landscape lighting running through this flower bed, and I have irrigation lines running through this flower bed. So I can just maneuver this auger around those lines. And I did that in a couple of these spots. I was able to just kind of push the electric line for the landscape lighting out of the way and drill my hole. So it makes it super simple. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It is not too late to plant bulbs. So if you're out and about in your neck of the woods and you find some bulbs still out there for sale on a clearance rack or whatever, and you think, I wonder if I can plant these. Yes, you can. As long as your ground isn't frozen, you can still plant the bulbs. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You're gonna have to stay tuned in the spring to see how they do and see what comes up and see if they're pretty or not. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. I would love for you to follow along as I continue this gardening journey. You never know what you're gonna see or where we're gonna go, so you might as well subscribe and follow along. Until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.